Welcome to our brand new micro cabin on wheels. It has everything that we need to escape into the wilderness. I wanted to try to build a more compact and practical cabin on wheels designed for quick, spontaneous adventures with my dog. And I think it turned out pretty great. So come along as I show you the ins and outs of our brand new build and have a wild adventure on Lake Superior's North Shore. This is Tiny Cabin Life. We're in the Superior National Forest way up in northern Minnesota, and today is a pretty exciting adventure. This is the first camp out with my brand new micro cabin on wheels, and I'm super excited to test it out for the very first time. Setting up this cabin is extremely simple. I just have to lower the tongue jack and make sure things are level. After that, there's just one more jack to place at the front door of the cabin. And that's it. We're ready to go. All right, everybody, I want to officially introduce you to the micro cabin. I literally just finished building this thing, and I'm so excited to have it as part of our fleet. Essentially, what I wanted with this camper was a smaller version of the travel cabin, something that's easier to tow, gets better gas mileage, and it's just easier to travel with when it's just Ellie and me. Let me show you what we've got going on the outside, and then I'll give you a tour of the interior. So I built the cabin here on a 5 by 8 foot utility trailer. That's only 40 square feet, just slightly larger, I mean slightly, than the first travel cabin I ever built, but with one major difference. It's not as tall. I decided to build this one a little bit shorter so that it gets better gas mileage out on the highway. It was super important to me to have large windows, so I put these 36 by 48 windows on either side of the cabin. And I did have to build a custom door for this one, and I put a nice tiny little window on the front as well, and I think it looks awesome. You can see the chimney coming out the roof, so you know I've got a wood stove in here. So this thing is winter ready as well. I wanted to make this thing as simple as possible, so I did not put a porch light on it yet. Maybe I will in the future, but for now I do have these solar cafe lights, which should give me plenty of light at night. All right, I think that's basically it for out here. Let's head inside. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple layout in here. Essentially, it's just a bed, nightstand, little table by the window, and a wood stove. But hidden amongst all this is a little bit more. Let me show you. So as you can see, there is plenty of space for me to sit up here and hang out. I wanted it to function in two specific ways, either lounging back in the bed or sitting here at the kitchen table, so to speak. I really wanted this bed to be comfortable, but to not take up more room than it really needs to. So it's not quite as wide as a twin. It's somewhere in between that and the size of a cot. This bed goes into two different modes. You've either got lounge mode like you're seeing right now, or it does pull out to become a full length bed. So you just pull the slats out, pull the mattress down, and then the backrest to the lounger slips right in to create the last section of the bed. But as you guys know, it's not enough to just have room for me to sleep. Ellie needed plenty of space as well, and as you look down there, there is more than enough room for her, which is great. Next to the bed is the nightstand. I just wanted more space to be able to set things down. I wanted to keep the electrical in here as simple as possible, so all we've got is a small little power station that runs to this power strip right here, which is Velcroed to the table. Plugged into it right now is the one and only lamp inside the cabin, but it's a pretty good one, and then hung up underneath it is the remote for our solar lights outside. Underneath the bed, I've got a couple of bins, as you can see here. One is just miscellaneous gear for the cabin, like a fan and other things. And then the other one here is all of our cooking supplies. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the kitchen table. I needed a spot to be able to cook and eat and just set knickknacks down. Underneath, though, I do have this nice little net, which I hung, which will be good for storage. I don't know what's going to end up in there, but I'm sure I will find something. All right, now let's take a look at our wood stove. This right here is the mini base camp from Northwoods Fabrication. It's the smallest wood stove that they make, and it really, really worked out here in the cabin. This thing has a very nice size firebox, especially for in here. In fact, this thing will more than do the job of heating this space. Safety is my #1 priority, so I did a few things to make sure that this thing is good to go in here. First off, if you take a look, we've got a nice solid gap between the stove and the heat shield. And then the heat shield itself has about a 6-inch air gap between the wall of the cabin and the metal itself here, which is very, very good for making sure that the combustibles, which is the wall itself back there, stays as cool as possible. And then up above, we've got a double-walled insulated pipe, which is standard for this type of installation. And then last but not least, I'll tell you about the walls. I did spray foam insulation, so this thing is insulated incredibly well. And I just put up this light plywood to cover it up. And I'm gonna leave it the natural wood look. I think it looks really, really great. So essentially that's it. You know, I'm sure I'll add or subtract things over time, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm so excited to be out here on its maiden voyage.
Now with the cabin tour out of the way, let me tell you about our camp here. This is the Harriet Lake Rustic Campground in the Superior National Forest. It's a free campground that offers just the basic amenities. You've got a fire ring, a picnic table, and that's basically it. One thing that I did notice is that this particular campground gives you a lot more space and privacy than most of the rustic campgrounds I've seen here. Each of the sites are enormous and they're incredibly separated from the others. And so if you're looking for a lot of space and to have it all to yourself, this is a good spot to come to. Now I do have some plans for the day, but before we do anything, I gotta have a little bit of lunch.
Dear God, thank you for another day to be out in the woods in our brand new cabin. This is going to be great. Thank you. Amen. Just having a little salad for lunch here because it's quick. There's a ton that I want to do in a very short amount of time, so we got to get moving.
There's a really cool trail that I want to hike today, but before we do that, I want to test out this brand new boat that I bought because the plan for early tomorrow morning is to get out and do some fishing, and I figured it probably would be smart to test it out before we do that.
I'm pretty excited about this little boat here. For the longest time, I've been either forced to fish from the boat cabin or from my little pack raft. This thing is going to be right in the middle of those two. It's still going to be extremely portable, but we'll also be able to have a little trolling motor attached and hopefully a little bit more room to maneuver out there. We definitely don't have a lot of time to go out on the water, especially if we're gonna try to get to these hikes, but I did want to test it out just to make sure everything works well before we get up at the crack of dawn to go fishing tomorrow.
Harriet Lake here has a public access at the campground where you could easily put in a larger boat. The lake itself is gorgeous. It's very, very large and has a bunch of different bays and areas to explore. However, today, I think we're just going to stick to the bay where the landing is just to get a feel for the boat.
I gotta say, so far, I'm pleased with this setup. It's certainly small. It's a small boat, but it's bigger than my pack raft. And I have this trolling motor cranking, and we're moving at a decent pace. It's definitely gonna make fishing a lot easier. I'm looking forward to doing that tomorrow.
With a successful test out on the water, I headed back to the cabin to pick up Ellie, and we headed out for a hike.
Well, I couldn't come all the way up to the North Shore without doing some hiking, so we're gonna try to hit a couple of trails here before evening truly sets in. I originally wanted to check out a few things that were further up north, but due to time constraints, I think we're gonna stick a little bit closer to camp here and start out by hiking a section of the Superior hiking trail that's supposed to be spectacular. All right, so this right here is section 13 of the Superior hiking trail. It's a long distance trail that goes along the north shore of Lake Superior here in Minnesota. It's absolutely spectacular. There are multiple peaks, waterfalls, rivers, lakes. It's just an amazing little stretch of ground that we have. And I've hiked a lot of different sections of it, never done this one before. Ooh, looks like we got a little creek here. Oh, that is beautiful.
This is Sawmill Creek, a little stream that makes its way through section 13 of the trail here. Little creeks like this can be an excellent source of drinking water, especially for hikers doing longer sections of this trail. As for us today, it's just a beautiful spot to take in as we make our way further down the trail.
You know, I've been doing a lot more backpacking lately, and it always dawns on me how important those little streams and lakes and ponds are for drinking water. And thankfully here in Minnesota, they're everywhere. You don't really have to go too far to find water. Check this out. Unpatrolled backcountry ski area. Ski at your own risk. I wonder if this is cross country or downhill skiing. Let's take a look. So this is downhill skiing. Wow, that's pretty cool. It shows on the map there are different routes, and it gives you the slope and some of the topography. That's really, really neat. Backcountry skiing in Minnesota, who knew?
At this point, the incline of the trail increased rapidly, and we really started to gain some elevation.
Ooh, this is different. Good girl, Al.
As the trail topped out a bit, the trees opened up, revealing what we've been hiking through this entire time.
Every time I come up here, these landscapes just blow my mind. To be up in mountains like this, in a state that's generally believed to be flat, I just think is so cool. And it just goes to show that there are special places everywhere.
After hiking another couple hundred yards, we finally reached the cliffside.
Oh yeah, that's a nice view.
cliffs here at Section 13 are often regarded as one of the most beautiful spots on the Superior hiking trail. Not only are the sheer cliffs incredibly dramatic, but you get stunning views of the Baptism River Valley and Sawtooth Mountain peaks. And then, of course, hiding behind us is the massive Lake Superior.
These cliffs are unbelievable. They're so incredibly steep with massive drop-offs, and you can see where it has just crumbled away and crumbled away over time. But what I really think is particularly special about this view are the layers of the landscape. From the rock in front of us to the next cliffside, then to the mountains that just go on and on into the distance. It is 100% worth the trek up here.
Alright guys, real quick, I want to take a moment to thank this week's video sponsor, Mudwater. Every now and then I like to substitute it for a cup of coffee because it just makes me feel so much better. And sometimes after eating meals that are high in acidity, I like to calm down my stomach because I do suffer from reflux from time to time. Mudwater Original is a coffee alternative made from organic cacao, masala chai, and functional mushrooms. And on mornings when I am struggling with reflux a little bit, it is perfect. Now you guys know that I do love my coffee a lot, but thankfully Mudwater here has only a fraction of the caffeine found in coffee, but it delivers basically the same result. Mudwater delivers energy, focus, and immune support. And what I really love is I can have it in the morning like this or in the mid-afternoon and still get to sleep on time, which is really important to me when I'm out in the backcountry. It also has clean ingredients only with zero sugar or sweeteners. It's super easy to make as well. Just add 1 tablespoon, or in my case here, just pour a little bit into a cup of hot water and you're good to go. So if you guys want to upgrade your morning or afternoon ritual and try Mudwater, you can head to the link in the description of this video and use my code TinyCabinLife to get 15% off your starter kit. It's a great value. You get about $20 off and you also get a free frother, which is really, really awesome. And with that, I want to thank Mudwater for sponsoring this video. By the time we'd gotten off the mountain, it was clear that another hike just wasn't going to happen today. So we headed back to the cabin to do a little campfire and eat some dinner. Thank you, God, for a great day. Help us to have more fun tonight and to be safe. Amen.
Well, for dinner tonight, I've got 2 turkey burgers with pepper jack cheese and a fried egg. Just perfect after the hike. It's very, very solid, and I forgot to mention that these are pretzel buns too, which are the best type of buns in my opinion.
Well, for the first time in what seems like an eternity, I was done cooking and doing everything I needed to do well before it got dark out. And so Ellie and I headed inside our brand new cabin to unwind and relax a bit.
And I found some other items.
What about them?
You tell me.
I decided to bring back some souvenirs.
Souvenirs? A human finger? A sacred death stone? A vulture's claw? Baubles of a witch doctor? That's all these are to you? Souvenirs?
Of course.
Well, I gotta say, it feels pretty good to be relaxing in the cabin here. Everything is great. It's comfy. There's plenty of room for me, for Ellie. It's perfect.
I'll try to be back early.
You'll never be back.
But as the daylight faded away more and more, I began to notice something happening. Oh my gosh. Look at all of those mosquitoes. Not only can you see the swarm, you can hear them. That is crazy. Not thinking much of it, I turned the light off to go to bed. However, that did not happen.
You guys, I have major issues going on. Like, so many mosquitoes in here. And I have no idea how they're getting in. I've killed so many. Like, there's blood splattered all over the walls. I've taped up, like, some of the cracks in the door. I have no idea how all these mosquitoes are getting in here. But they are, and I'm kind of in trouble. It's like well past midnight. I haven't slept. I got up at 3 a.m. to come up here, so it's just not good. This is really not cool. Even though I have this fan blowing right at me, there's so many mosquitoes in here that it would just like blow them into my face, and then they would land on my face. Oh my gosh. And as you can see, I even put on like my pants and my coat. Nothing is working. So yeah, I'm going to the truck. Come on, El, come. Look at all these mosquitoes out here. I've never seen anything like it. They are literally everywhere. Come here, Al. In you go. In you go. Go, go, go. Well, as you can see, it is 1 a.m. I need to get some sleep. I was going to get up literally at sunrise. I just can't do that. So I don't know if fishing's going to happen, but we'll just see in the morning. The last time I slept in the truck here, I did so in the back, and it actually wasn't bad. But unfortunately, I have a fridge and other gear back there, so I'm going to have to just sleep in the driver's seat. This is ridiculous. Good morning. As you can see,
I ended up on the floor in the back here. I tried sleeping in the driver's seat. I just couldn't do it. So I took the fridge out, and even though it wasn't comfortable, I at least was able to sleep a little bit. So that's good. Well, I guess let's go see if the mosquitoes are still out. My gosh, look at this bug up here. Look at this bug. Oh my goodness. Come on, girl. Big stretch. Well, so far there seems to be a normal amount of mosquitoes, if there are any. But let's see how many are in the cabin. It's a beautiful view. As you can see, the plague is gone. The cabin's not just covered anymore. I'm honestly so curious where they were coming in, because if you look, there is like a little crack there. Like, that's a little crack, but I taped over that. Honestly, the only other thing I could think of is the stovepipe, but the stove was shut. Like, the door was shut and the damper was shut, so I don't see how they would be coming in that way. Oh my gosh. Look at this. So many mosquitoes. Oh. All right, I'm getting out of here. Well, as much as I would love to get that boat out and do some fishing, we're expecting some rain here in the next half hour or so. You can see the clouds coming. That was why I was going to get up early to go out there, but I needed the sleep, so what are you going to do? Well, guys, I think I'm going to end this adventure here. This was certainly not how I was hoping this adventure would turn out, but you know, that's the way it goes, and that's what these trial runs are for. It's to figure out what works, what doesn't, and what needs to be improved upon. And clearly, I think it's the door. There's some sort of a way that bugs are getting in there, and I'm gonna have to create a better seal or something, because that was just out of this world. I've never seen anything like that. I want to give a special thank you to our patrons who generously donate to this channel, but to all of you who watch, subscribe, comment, and to our sponsors. All of you collectively are the reason that we get to do what we do. It's how I'm able to go do these cool adventures in places like Montana and around the country, and even stuff like this. And so I just want to say thank you again. It's an absolute joy to make these videos for you guys. It's a blessing to me, to our family, and we don't take it lightly. So thank you again. But with that, it's time to get loaded up so I can get home and see the girls. We'll see you guys next week. God bless.